welcome, and I use the word loosely, to Doctor Who Reviews. This week we are reviewing The Twin Dilemma. And to discuss it with me are my two usual co-hosts. Firstly, to my virtual left, we finally found something involving mirrors that he actively dislikes. It's Freezing Inferno.
Please tell me Colin Baker is going to put on a mask, control me again, and say, "Hey, you're watching Time Lash instead, chucklefuck."
We should be so lucky.
Only.
And to my virtual right, fuck you very, very much. It's Kat.
Oh, by the way, we're not actually doing Twin Dilemma.
Okay, what are we doing?
Twin Dilemma.
Shit.
Kids, we're going to go to the box factory. We're going to the box factory. No. We are doing Twin Dilemma. I sat through this. I sat through this dreck.
I sat through this dreck last time, so...
For 95 minutes of my life, I will never get back, so we are doing it tonight. We are getting it over and done with.
Is it bad for me to say I actually enjoyed watching this serial?
No.
I mean, I disagree. Because
it's hard to disagree, but you're entitled to think that to
like
it as we're not.
Well, no, see, because I went into it knowing it was going to be completely awful, and I had my friend Chris on the call with me who was listening to me live react to this, so we were just making jokes about it the entire time.
Well, that's fair enough. You've taken a positive experience and attached it to this very non-positive episode.
I can
it's
see
like
how
if anybody else watches it, do exactly the same thing. You will have a grand old time.
I wish I'd thought of that.
Yeah, I wish I thought about not watching it.
So, for context, if this is your first episode of the show, and please, for the love of God, watch a more well-regarded Doctor Who episode that we reviewed.
This should never be anybody's first episode. I'm just saying that right now.
Go, just pause the video, go to Rainiac's channel, look up Doctor Who reviews, pick literally anything else,
except for Forest of the Night.
Well,
but this should also not be the first serial of Doctor Who that somebody ever watches.
Well, it's a first in some regard.
It was nearly a last.
Well, you could argue it was the beginning of the end. But for context, in July of last year, I thought we were doing this story. It turned out I had been bamboozled, and our lovely friend Kat had actually paid Colin Baker on Cameo to talk to me and say, "Haha, gotcha, you're actually talking about just the two doctors. We made you watch The Twin Dilemma for nothing." And it blew my mind, and it was a very funny joke.
I'm still so happy about that.
It's a good podcast, and you should listen. Those 18 minutes are full of joy.
And 8 months later, I'm paying for
Unlike
it
these
hardcore.
ones.
Right, so... Quick things off the top that I mentioned in that video. Kat actually bought this for me for Christmas one year. So I own it. Thank you, Kat.
What a considerate friend.
Yeah, really considerate.
See, it's like I planned ahead.
At least when I bought you Colin Baker, I bought you the good Blu-ray.
Well, you also bought me Terror of the Vervoid, so good is a relative term here.
I mean, it's better than this shit!
True.
So, we're getting awfully negative, and for good reason. This is the Grand Doctor Who 2014 poll that I've referenced over and over in these stories. The Twin Dilemma is dead. It is the worst Doctor Who story of all time, according to them.
Spoilers,
for
the
reasons
poll is
we
right.
won't get into.
And, well, the poll is not entirely villainous, if you will. For context,
don't patronize me.
Yes. Memes. The memes you're just trying to save yourself with the memes, I know. This is the final story of season 21. Now, the nature of that makes an interesting sort of contradiction of ideas that didn't coalesce at all, kind of like mixing it. So, at the end of season 21, the penultimate story, Peter Davison's fifth Doctor regenerated into Colin Baker's sixth Doctor. And so the production team decided, we don't want to make everyone wait another 9 months to see what this new Doctor's like. let's have the last story of the season be their debut. Seems like a neat idea, right? It's like, hey, you can just see the new Doctor right away next week. Okay, great. The problem came when they decided, hey, you know how the Fifth Doctor was this likable, very kind, sweet individual? Let's make our new Doctor a raving, lunatic, smug, self-satisfied jackass.
Yeah.
What a great idea. As the unfortunately review is down for the moment, but the site SF Debris did a review of Twin Dilemma, and they summed this up perfectly. It would have been better if they made you worry that the new Doctor would be crap, rather than the next week transmitting something and saying, no, it will be crap.
Oh,
They
jeez.
took a gamble and they lost.
Yeah, they definitely reeled back Colin Baker's acidic nature in later stories. Like, Colin Baker's still sort of a smug, kind of shouty, sort of full of himself doctor, very brash. But they reel it back a little bit, just enough that you can kind of like the guy, and he's got the same strong sense of justice and fighting evil and whatnot that he's always had. But all of that, all of the Colin Baker stories that we've covered so far, they've been a retcon in a way because they went way too fucking far in Twin Dilemma.
Yeah.
Way too fucking far. And it poisoned the well. I mean, to this day, people say, oh, Colin Baker is such a shit doctor. Can't act for shit. Because of the goddamn bullshit they saddled him with in Twin Dilemma.
Yeah.
Which I'd also like to say, he is not a bad actor in this. You really get the sense that he is a raving lunatic. So
Yeah.
it's not his fault. It's the writers. It's the people
Yeah.
who directed him to
I
do
forgive Colin
do
Baker
all
for
this.
everything he did in this serial.
Because Colin Baker himself doesn't like the serial, so...
I do not forgive the writers.
Yeah, the writer. Now, and that's another thing. So, Regeneration Stories, off the top of my head, every Regeneration story I can think of has been penned by a veteran of the series. So, even going back so far as Power of the Daleks, it's by David Whitaker, who did a bunch of episodes in the 60s. And the Third Doctor is written by Robert Holmes, Fourth Doctor, Terrence Dix, Fifth Doctor, I think it's Bidmead, the script editor, so he knew how to run Doctor Who. And even the Seventh Doctor, Time in the Ronnie, which is a clusterfuck of its own right, at least they went, okay, we got barely any time to do this. Let's just get Pip and Jane Baker to fire something off because they're at least reliable enough that they can get it out in time. And then, the new series, you had episodes written by Russell T Davies, Stephen Moffat, and God help us, Chris Chibnall, who had some experience going in.
Not good experience, but experience.
Yeah. But the Sixth Doctor's debut was written by a man named Anthony Stephen, who, as far as I can recall, has not written any Doctor Who before or since.
Gee, I wonder why.
Gee, I wonder why. But they just saddled this new guy who just wrote this completely unrelated script, I guess, with, hey, motherfucker, you're writing the Regeneration story now. And he didn't deliver well, and it had to be tweaked, and it just suffered for it. It's, oh my god, it's bad. Like, I wasn't gonna go off so hard on it in July 2020 when I thought we were gonna do it, but watching it again for this actively really pissed me off. So you win, Kat. You trolled me. Good job.
Oh, your pain is my enjoyment.
And, well, some of your pain, too, because you had to watch the show. At least you got to. Let's
I had
dive
fun
into
with it, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Let's dive into it.
Oh, we'll get it. We'll get to what offends Rainiac and I so goddamn much about it. It's mostly Colin Baker's
characterization. Oh, do you mean the whole thing?
Mostly Colin Baker's characterization in the story. Let's
Oh no, it's not just Colin Baker's characterization in the story. That's a part of it.
That's the biggest part of it.
But there's a lot more.
So we open on space chess. Chess played in the space 80s.
Using triangles.
Yeah.
Because, of course.
You do, because shapes are cool in the future.
And in a story called The Twin Dilemma, we open on twins.
Which These twins. Like,
I'm just going to read what I wrote in my notes verbatim here. They haven't even said anything. I can already tell these twins can't act for shit.
as much as I don't like harping on kids from 35 years ago, couldn't act for shit.
Oh, they're of age right now. It's fine.
I think even they would have said they couldn't act in this story.
Yeah, they. And originally, as written, the twins are supposed to be two girls, but the producer insisted that they be two boys for I don't know reason, but we ended up saddling with these little.
They weren't just
Sexism.
supposed to be
I don't know.
two girls. They were supposed to be two more experienced child actors.
Which, these
Would have
kids
worked
are.
better, yeah.
So I'm wondering how he's related to these kids now.
He's not, but
That you know of.
it's not like that one video game where the English dub was done by the director's entire family, and it's terrible.
What?
I was more thinking of how they made Qatar in the last Airbender movie a white chick because she was like with the producer's daughter. So then they had to make Sokka
Yeah.
a white kid
Oh.
so that he would match since they're siblings.
Oh, thanks. I hate it.
So I'm just wondering how these two kids are related to whoever was doing the
Chaos Wars, that's the
casting.
name of the video game. Chaos Wars.
Ah.
So, and in a trend that will be set for the writing of the story, these two children are smug little shits.
They're also
As
named Romulus and Remus, and I hate it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is a nod to Roman mythology. The twin founders of Rome.
Get it?
It's said that in the Roman mythology, Romulus kills Remus.
Yeah. That's...
So that
Oh,
might be
if
hinted
only.
It's a dark future for one of these two twins.
And also, and this is kind of it's kind of mean to nitpick on this, but it has to be said. The twins have a lisp, so whenever they say their names, they say Womulus and Weemus. In a kind of, it's not that bad, but you can hear it.
I wasn't going to knock him for that.
Like,
That's fine. Acting with a lisp is absolutely fine. That can actually add to a character in certain things. Do you know what can't add to a character?
being a little shit.
The twins said to their father, "Respect must be earned. Mother is a fool." What the hell?
Yeah,
Oh.
they're like so rude to their unseen mother, who never appears on camera, probably because she didn't want to be in this.
I mean, the father
What did
pieced
we-
out after about 2 minutes. Who can blame him?
Yeah. But also, apparently, these kids are math wizards, kind of like Adric if he were shit.
Yeah. This is the problem. You see, these two twins. This is just twin Adrics, but
No
turned
wonder
way
Fandom
I like
hates it.
up.
Adric.
Turned
I
way
like
up.
Adric.
I like it.
No.
I don't mind Adric. I
Adric's
don't mind-
fine.
I don't like
These two are Adric, but turned way up to unbearable.
See, the part that I really hate is whenever they do their mathematics, it's like some weird space alien mathematics that we can't understand what they're writing. It's just we see one line in red, one line in green, one line in red, so forth. And it's like maybe if they had done actual math on the screen, even if it didn't work out, at the very least it'd be more believable. But right now, it's like looking at a wall of hieroglyphics and being like, yes, cool.
So,
What am I supposed to be
Also-
looking at?
and also, as their dad yells, apparently their math can alter reality, which is not a concept foreign to Doctor Who. Tom Baker's final story is all about math that can alter reality. So, it's well-worn ground, but it doesn't really amount to much in this story beyond
No.
the impetus of the scheme. But unfortunately, we have to cut to the newly regenerated Sixth Doctor. When he has to contend-
Hey!
Now, for added context that'll make everything hurt even more, in the previous story, The Caves of Androzani, the Fifth Doctor valiantly sacrificed himself because the pair of them were poisoned, and there was only enough antidote for one person, so after a harrowing ordeal, he gets them back to the TARDIS. They're both near death, and he gives Perry the antidote, and it's like, I'm going to save your life, Perry. I'll be fine. Maybe I'll regenerate. I'm not sure. And then he dies, and boom, Colin Baker.
And then in the next episode, he immediately tries to strangle her.
Not immediately.
Yeah.
Not immediately.
Well,
but
We'll
Well,
get
not
to that,
immediately, but still.
But here's Colin Baker and Peter Davison's outfit. He's like, oh, well, what do you think, Perry? Oh, it's absolutely terrible, Doctor. never mind the clothes. What about me? Ah. And then he looks in the mirror.
I'm sorry. I love this part so much because Perry's like, "You look terrible. What's wrong with you?" And he's looking in the mirror like, a noble brow.
Yeah.
I guess that's a Doctor Who mirror alert.
This doesn't deserve it.
I found this part so hilarious because he's basically making like all this great stuff about himself, and it's just so funny.
I'm just the coolest. I look great. I'm the best.
This scene did not make me want to punch things, so in that regard, it was good.
What also kind of sucks is, the idea. I guess the idea of the Doctors is that they're contrasts of the previous selves as they regenerate. So you have stuff like 11 to 12 or 10 to 11 in some sort of respect.
Yeah,
But
12 was actually useful. 13 is not.
Oh God, but I don't know. I don't think they've gone like so far as to shit talk their previous incarnations right after they regenerated. Like it feels way too overt to me. It's just like he's like, oh, that incarnation, I wasn't happy with him. He was all fickle and nice and sweet.
Yeah.
Ugh.
It's almost like Anthony Stephen didn't like the Fifth Doctor or something.
It's like, it's fine to have that opinion, but don't make the Doctor shit talk himself.
Doctor Who.
I mean, the idea is that he's unstable, but if you really mean that, maybe you should have him not mean it and retract that later if you're going to do it. Like, a major part of the story is that it blurs the line between when the Doctor is stable and when the Doctor is a raving absolute lunatic in post-regenerative trauma. Which you shouldn't have fucking done post-regenerative trauma to this degree, to this scale. Again, in an episode where it's like the one teaser of Colin Baker you're going out on for 9 months.
Yeah.
Hey, let's see the new guy. Oh, the new guy is an absolute unhinged dickhead. See you next time.
And also, in this same part, he makes the best decision he would ever make. And he decides to change his wardrobe.
Well, we're gonna get to that, but before he does that, he has another psychotic breakdown where he's like, "Oh, I better change." And I'll give Colin Baker this: he does unhinged cackling really well. He's just like, "Oh, there's no change, no space." He's just shriveling away in the wardrobe and like, "Nothing but boredom of eternity."
Yeah, like I said, he's a very good actor. He pulls this off. It's just the script is awful.
He does what they asked him to do. Unfortunately, what they asked him to do is bullshit.
That's why I keep saying that Jodie Whittaker is being Colin Baker, because it's like she's not bad at what she does. She's just being made useless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So may I elaborate a little bit on the Doctor's choice of wardrobe here?
Well, before that, can we talk about what happens beforehand?
Yeah.
Namely, so an old man teleports into the twins' place. And they talk to the stranger. Big no-no.
So I just don't get this, because a strange old man teleports into your house and their reaction is, "Oh, what a nice trick." No, call the police? Maybe? I mean, the hell?
He does lie to them. He does lie to them and say that he's a friend of their father's.
Yes.
He introduces himself as Professor Edgeworth. That's not his actual name, as you'll find out later. As if anyone really cares. I'm
still mad that the twins didn't object to this.
Yeah.
Oops. They're supposed to be mathematical geniuses. Surely you think they'd have some common sense.
No, because they're doing that thing where, they're geniuses, but they're very naive.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that tired old trope.
Anyway, long story short, he sticks some green circles on their wrists and brainwashes them and abducts them. So there's your dilemma with the twins.
Oh no, how terrible.
And now we get to talk about...
Now we get to the coat, yes. So before the coat happens, there's a scene which I think...
wait, hold it. We also need to say that I think it's also during this time that they go onto the spacecraft and he talks to Mester at this time.
That's after.
I have that after in my notes.
Is it after?
But yeah,
Yes,
we
it's
can
after
briefly touch
39.
on that. It's fine. He talks to Mester, who is his boss. We don't see Mester at this point, and Mester orders him to take the twins to a safe house on a place called Titan 3.
Okay.
Now we get to the coat.
Which its first shot is from a mirror, so Doctor Who mirror alert.
Woo 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 woo.
Whoa.
It's the coat!
Yeah,
It's the coat.
but
Another
before the coat happens, we get a scene which again, if not slugging off previous incarnations of the character, I think is like rejecting the past of the character, because he puts on different elements of outfits from previous Doctors.
I mean, Time and the Ronnie did this too. It was funnier then.
Yeah, but Tyler Ronnie wasn't actively trying to slag off his previous incarnations. It was
I
played for
suppose
laughs.
you're right. Yeah.
But we do
So
eventually
what
get
did
to the coat.
Which another decision that kind of fucked with this story and general Doctor Who reception.
But it turns out
Like,
there's actually a background story behind the choice of the coat.
oh,
Yeah.
this is the funny one. Go ahead.
It was meant to play into Colin Baker's character as the Doctor.
Uh-huh.
The coat was meant to symbolise his shattered mental state. His chaotic personality.
That is some esoteric shit right there.
I quite like that, but the problem is that once the Doctor eventually healed out of it, he should have changed the coat.
But no, it's the 80s, motherfuckers!
Which he did. He did have that cloak in Revelation of the Daleks.
Yeah, and there's outfits in like expanded media, like the blue coat.
Oh, the blue coat would have been magnificent. There is some footage, some colorized footage that somebody has created of the multicolored coat, colorized to look blue.
Mm-hmm.
And
Colin Baker wanted a black coat.
It actually works really well.
That got overruled.
But I'm not going to say that too much because I know Kat likes the multicolored coat.
But look, the coat is
I
not
would
is
totally
the
own
least.
that.
The coat is the least of our worries in this story. It definitely didn't help at the time, but it's one of those things where you can forgive it and just say, "Oh, haha,
I
the
can't believe we're going to
80s,
say
right?"
this, but the coat's a highlight
Tasteless
of this
bullshit.
story.
Yeah, but I will share the supposed like anecdote that Colin Baker says, where legend has it that the designer kept designing. The pitch was, okay, make a tasteless, tacky, multicolor coat. But the designer was actually still playing off of ingrained color theory from designing school or whatnot. And it was making a coat that like, it was kind of tacky, but it wasn't super tacky. And apparently the anecdote goes that the designer went, "Oh, you want something like this bullshit?" and just made something up as a joke, and the producer was like, "Yes, that's it! That's the coat!"
Oh. Oh.
And Perry, she shit talks the coat. I guess they're trying to be self-aware, but it's not really. It's like, you can't go out like that. You'll look dreadful. Yuck. Yeah. Gross. But well, we get that mess door scene you mentioned, and then Perry changes her outfit. She's like, "Oh, hey, well, her outfit was, all burned and singed and God knows what from Caves of Androzani." So she puts on this. It's a decent outfit. She's like, "What do you think?" And the Doctor just goes, "Yuck."
Yeah.
Petty ass bitch. But then we get, and I think up to now, people probably could have forgiven. Okay, he's a bit of an arrogant jackass, but maybe he's gonna calm down. I don't know. Maybe he'll be mellow out once the adventure starts. And then the scene, and I don't think it's too much hyperbole to say, then the scene that killed classic Doctor Who happens.
It's not an exaggeration at all. This is the scene that basically killed off any chance of Colin Baker being accepted at the time as a great Doctor.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And even
And
now.
again, it's not his fault.
No. We've mellowed to him now. We think he's terrific now. But back in the 80s, this is probably what already in his first story was his nail, the final nail in his coffin.
Yeah.
So it's another post-regenerative trauma fit, which how many times do I have to tell you this is a bad idea? Every time it comes up in the story, let's just
Yeah.
assume post-regenerative trauma, doctor going boo, 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 is a bad idea.
Yeah.
But this is probably the worst bad idea. He looks at Perry and he's like, "Oh, Perry, why your name is symbolic of a very imperfect mythology that was good, but before it was good, it was evil. You're an evil alien spy, and I'm going to fucking kill you." And then he tries to fucking choke his companion to death.
Yep. This is the only time the Doctor's tried to actively kill a companion.
I mean, at the time, they're probably thinking, "Oh, how brave and edgy. Oh, he's an unpredictable doctor. You don't know if you can trust him." Everyone just went, "Fuck this fucking fuck. I'm not watching this shit." And can you blame him? Because the story isn't exactly a winner aside from that, but...
Well, Frez, I mean, he stops because of a mirror.
Doctor Who mirror alert!
No, it doesn't deserve it.
I'm contractually obligated.
It's an impulse. He has to, or else he'll implode.
Oh, God.
Damn you, reasonable
I get-
logic. you
Mostly
beat me
because
again.
of the bombs that I put inside of his body.
Damn you, reasonable logic and coercion of bombs inside his body. You beat me again.
Damn it. Yeah.
Don't
This
go below
is-
50 miles an hour, Frezno.
We're all fun, we're jokey jokes, but this...
Yeah, it even with the fact that I had fun with this, it's still kind of a little bit out of left field that he decides to do this. Especially since, again, no other doctor has done this or will do this.
Excuse me, a little out of left field.
That's a bit left field.
A little out of left field. He's just trying to kill his companion for no real reason, and you describe that as a little out of left field?
Look,
You know
we've
what,
seen weirder.
You know what really
Have
upsets
we?
me about this? You know what really gets me about this? Never once does Perry really properly call him on his bullshit, and he properly apologizes. It's just like, it's just shit like, "You tried to kill me," or "You're acting like a big unstable idiot."
Yeah.
And instead of saying, "Oh, I'm sorry, you know, it's the regenerative trauma. I can't think straight, but we got to solve this." Instead, he just goes, "I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong. You're wrong. I'm the best."
Honestly, this whole part made me feel super uncomfortable because it feels like an abusive relationship.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely a reading you can take from it. And it's
I wasn't even going to go on that angle, but you're absolutely right. Domestic
Which-
abuse.
Yeah,
makes-
because essentially what happens is he sees himself in the mirror and he, like, I don't know, I guess gets scared or something because he's manic.
Yeah.
And he stops doing it. And he, I think it cuts to a different scene, but the continuation is that she tells him that he tried to kill her. And she's like, "I would never do that. What are you talking about? I would only kill somebody in self-defense." Gets close to her and she like backs away. And that's when he realizes how scared she is of him. And it's like this whole part just feels like an abused wife. And like this is the first time he hit her.
Jumping ahead to the end of the story, which tries to make his thesis statement, the final line is, "I am the doctor whether you like it or not." And she smiles at the end. It's
Yeah.
just like, so in that context, this is horrifically fucked up.
Yeah.
You
And it's
me
like
by
later
about
on
an
there's
hour
a
and half,
bit
but
where
yeah, that is ridiculous.
later on there's a bit where she is showing concern over him possibly having died or something like that. I honestly
Well,
forget
I'm
exactly
gonna tear into
Well,
that later.
either way, what happens is that he's like, why would you care after all the terrible things I've done to you? And she's like, "Because I have compassion." And it's like, no, you're in an abusive situation. He tried to kill you. React
going
more
to-
to that.
I am going to tear into that scene in particular.
Oh yeah, I'm just
I'm gonna
speaking in
rip it a new
context
asshole.
of the sort of abusive relationship that they seem to have.
And indeed, even in the immediate moment of the aftermath, where he's like, "Oh, wow, you're really scared, aren't you? I really must have done a bad thing." Like, okay, he's got some self-reflection. But then his decision is, oh my god, I'm going insane. So we're going to self-isolate on a miserable asteroid rock for
Oh,
100
God, this
years,
part.
and you're coming with me, bitch.
Yep.
This part.
So,
So-
it's
so
like
the
you were
doctor's-
so close
The
to
Doctor's
being
remedy for
self-aware.
what he's done to Perry, which is really unreasonable at this point alone, is not only completely off the mark, but it's going to punish Perry as well.
Like, I
Yeah.
kind of wish that in this serial they put out a part where, like, he theorizes that the poison possibly messed with his mind. Then it'd be a little bit easier to take.
I actually
Before
think
this,
that is
it's
a
just-
fan theory. That is
Yeah,
reported in
but
this.
it's like, with the way it's presented, it just shows that the Doctor is fucking insane.
Yeah. So,
I wouldn't have minded an insane Doctor for a part of the serial. It's the way they portray him as insane.
he's just a shitlord, and at no point does he receive any comeuppance or calling out for it.
We have had post-regenerative trauma since this serial. Since the Sixth Doctor era.
Yeah.
And they have done it so much better than this story.
Sylvester McCoy, well, he gets over it pretty quick, McCoy. I mean, the TV movie, also, the post-regenerative bullshit fucks with it, because they spend a third of the movie going, oh, who the fuck am I? I don't know, but at least he's not, like, a madman.
The best regenerative trauma is probably Peter Capaldi.
Which, I'm definitely going to
it's-
have words to say about Peter Capaldi in comparison to this episode later.
It's kind of weird, though, because I don't know about before this, because we haven't seen any of the regeneration episodes before this, as far as I'm aware. But everything after this has always been amnesia based rather than trauma based.
Like,
It's almost like they saw this and they were like, "Yeah, we're not doing that."
they never really did it like this before, to this degree, I can tell you. It's either the Doctor basically gets into his default mode pretty quickly, or he's like sick in bed from the shock and delusion of it all.
Yeah.
But it's never really, I'm fucking crazy.
And again, if they had said something about the poison that killed him possibly messing with his biology, at least then that would make sense. But they didn't.
They didn't have that level of continuity
No.
between stories, I guess. But we should mention that we then cut to Space Ranger HQ, because the dad of the twins gets home and he finds some residue on the floor from the teleport. No kids. And he's like, oh shit, my kids have been kidnapped. And he calls the space police.
What did they say that's on the residue? Is it Zarium? Zarium?
Zanium.
Zanium?
The correct answer is, who cares? We're never going to see them again.
Animanium, totally Zanium.
We're at Space Police HQ, and the guy taking the call is Lieutenant/Lieutenant Hugo Lang. He talks to the space police chief, and she's like, "Okay, go track them. Go get the fighter squadrons out. Go out in your police spaceships and go find them kids.
Yeah. And
You're going to be leading."
You might recognise this actor.
I don't
It's Kevin McNally.
know who that is.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh wait. You said I remember this now because you said this in July, and I looked back at what we said in July.
Yeah. He's in Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh, he's the dude who's missing an eye.
No, he's Jack's friend.
Mr. Gibbs, I think you said in
I
July.
think it's Mr. Gibbs, yeah.
Mr. Gibbs is missing an eye, isn't he? No, it's the other dude who's
No,
missing an eye. What am I thinking?
one of Pintel and Rigetti is missing an eye.
Yeah.
It's the tall guy who's missing the eye.
Yes.
Right.
But this is Kevin McNally. And funny you should mention Peter Capaldi, because Capaldi could have played this character.
Oh God!
He was under consideration for this character. Other actors that were under consideration for other characters in the story. Peter Cushing, under consideration for Professor Edgeworth.
Oh God!
I'm actually glad we didn't get him.
Yeah, I object to that.
God!
who else was mentioned? Jeffrey Belden was also considered for the part of Edgeworth.
I just, like, I feel bad for the people who were in it, let alone the people who were supposed to be in it.
Yeah.
But they chase down the spaceship that the kids are on, and the kids, meanwhile, have hacked some bullshit in their little the room that they're being held in. They've hacked some bullshit to send a distress signal, so that's how the ships can track them. But then the spaceship they're on goes into warp drive, and Hugo Lang is like, "The ship went into warp drive, Captain. Oh, go follow him. You don't understand. That class of ship wasn't made to go to warp drive. What's going on here?"
This is perhaps the one bit of science fiction that the story does right.
And then she loses contact with him because, oh no, what happened? But the Doctor and Perry arrive on the desolate bullshit miserable rock known as Titan 3 to spend God knows how long in quiet contemplation and solitude. And
I find this part hilarious though because it's so sexist. It's like blatantly sexist.
God.
Because he's like, I am going to be sitting here meditating and you're going to be taking care of me and feeding me and all that stuff. It's like, bitch, no.
Bitch, no.
Fuck you.
The long story short is that they head out and, there's crashed spaceship bullshit everywhere. And this is when the Doctor is really an asshole. So just like, oh my goodness, look at this ship that's crashed. Wow, well, we should investigate. And Perry's like, oh, nobody could have survived this. And then they find the body of Hugo Lang. And, the Doctor, instead of being all, oh, look, a survivor, we gotta help. He's like, so nobody could have lived, Perry, huh?
You would have left him for dead.
This story doesn't deserve it, but there's definitely a moment where Nicola Bryant, she's supposed to be like all stern and serious with the Doctor, but she's smiling. So all I'm going to say is Nicola Bryant corpsing, send for the man.
Yeah. Okay, but the whole thing the cat just said, where the Doctor's like, you would have left this man for dead, Perry, shame on you, it is immediately undercut by by part 2, which we'll get to in a second. But
well, it's not even immediately undercut by part 2. It's immediately undercut in the same episode where he doesn't want to save the dude.
It gets even worse, though, because that line isn't even the worst thing about this scene. The Doctor has decided he's going to try and investigate whatever's going on. He says to Perry, this is work for heroes, not faint-hearted girls. Woof.
Ugh.
You fucker. But our episode 1 cliffhangers, they've somehow dragged Hugo Lang's unconscious body into the TARDIS. And cliffhanger 1, you have Perry going off on the Doctor finally for a bit. I don't remember the exact line. All I wrote is "go off on him, Perry." So she said something. You know what? Let's look at the transcript. Let's look at the transcript.
Back into his face. It's pretty good. It's nowhere near levels of good that Clara got at the end of Kill the Moon.
Well, I'll definitely talk about Clara later because I got to talk about something I like.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
There are definitely parallels between this and the 12th Doctor and Clara, and it's not good.
Yeah. And so Perry's going off, and she says, how can you be so pathetic? I never saw anyone who loved himself so much with less reason. You forgot all about him, pointing down to Hugo Lang. By the time you stop congratulating yourself, he'll probably be dead. Which, mood. So the cliffhanger episode 1 is just Hugo Lang wakes up, and he points a gun at the Doctor, and he's like, I'm going to kill you now. And, woo. And episode 2's... resolution is, but first I'm gonna pass out because I'm tired. Blump. There you go. Yeah. So so the Doctor doesn't get shot, and this is where the Doctor's absolute bullshit comes in because remember in part 1 he was like, "Oh Perry, you would have left that man to die. Oh, some compassionate person you are." And now he's like, "Fuck you! I'm not saving that guy. He just pointed the gun at me. I'm gonna leave him here to die." I don't give a shit.
And Perry sides with him over the Doctor.
Which, yeah.
Because somebody's got some morals in this episode, I guess.
Plus, I mean, we find out a little bit later that the poor guy has a concussion. And do you know what the number one thing is that they tell you not to do when you have a concussion?
Move.
No, fall asleep.
Yeah. Because I remember one time when I was like 7th grade, I banged my fucking head on the hard ass gym floor, got sent home, and that's the thing they told me to do. They said, "Don't go to sleep."
You have to be awake for 24 hours or else you may die.
And yeah, but also, even ignoring that, I'm looking at the transcript here, and this line just gets me. Perry is defending the guy, and he's just like, he didn't know what he was doing. Think of what must have happened to him. And the doctor's like, quite beside the point. Like, oh, I see. So the man was delirious and tried to kill him, so he shouldn't be saved. But when you're delirious and you try to strangle somebody, it's all fucking fine.
We have a doctor here who's actually refusing to help someone.
And I am really going to. I'm saving a bit of my anger and I'm genuinely like fucking furious at that shit.
Good. Let your anger fill you.
Okay, Cat Palpatine.
Strike them down.
Somehow, Cat has returned. I'd rather be watching that shit than this shit.
I will say this about that film. I enjoy the experience of going to see it, but if you are a writer and you think your writing is terrible, please take heart in the fact that the line "somehow Palpatine return" got into a finished film script.
Doesn't that make me feel so much better?
That line was that line was broadcast.
I can't believe the fucking the hypocrisy must have been intentional here. I cannot fathom accidentally oopsing your way into writing the central hero of the show like this.
The hypocrisy was so bad you can't say the word hypocrisy. That's how bad it is. And I just said it back wrong as well. Fuck.
Hey, how are you supposed to say it correctly then? Hypocrisy.
Don't patronize him.
Yeah. What did I say?
Not you, him.
Something else.
Either way, motherfucker's like, I'm not going to save him. He threatened my life when he choked out Perry. And it's like, fuck. How are you this fucking dense that you can't see? It had to have been intentional. And if it's intentional, write a better goddamn script that communicates that.
Yep.
I don't know about anybody else, but I'm very much enjoying this.
I am trying so hard to keep the cork pressed in the bottle. Because if the cork is removed from the bottle, it's not going back in.
Well, I already popped my cork. Come on, you might as well.
I'm saving it for the right moment.
Or are you saving?
Saving
the bubbly
for the
for
right
a special
moment.
occasion later in the story? Okay.
I'm saving it for a particular moment.
Okay.
I'm going to just explode everywhere.
I definitely am saving. Yeah. Oh yeah. Episode 3. Looking at my notes is when I really need to go off on this shit. But anyway. Perry manages to convince the doctor, hey, why don't we just hide the power pack for his space laser gun somewhere? That way he can't shoot you when he wakes up, and you can actually take care of him like a decent individual. And it's like, okay, fine, whatever.
And then we get a line I actually liked in the story.
Mm-hmm.
So the TARDIS is are they on Titan 3 now? Yes, they are. So,
yes, they are.
They're inside the TARDIS, and the Doctor wants to go and investigate outside. And Perry's like, oh yeah, what's a little radiation sickness between friends?
God.
Actually a good line. It didn't deserve to be in this episode. But he also calls her Tegan.
Yeah.
By mistake. So this is a case of them having their cake and trying to eat it as well, because having spent the majority of part 1 having the Doctor slag off his previous incarnations, he's now bringing up a past companion.
Oh my God! I'm sorry to interrupt, but in the moment I just sort of was clicking through my dings on Discord, and Michael Hoovian is actually live tweeting the episode in one of our chats.
Oh yeah, he is.
He is.
Why are you watching this, Mike?
Because he's a
We're
madman.
We're doing this for the show. Why are you watching this? You have so much to live for.
Also, I will point out Michael's put in Discord, the entire first episode is just, let us find a cave, and he's not wrong.
Yeah, mood. So we missed a scene somewhere that cuts away where Edgeworth is talking to the twins, and they're basically like, "Fuck you, we ain't doing this shit, math. I'm not doing the goddamn thing. We demand to know what's going on here." And then they get threatened by Mestor, who we see now. I think we saw him in part 1, but we definitely see him here.
Mestor.
Mestor is a slug man.
I think you mean Budget Jabba the Hutt.
Yes.
Well, look, this isn't the weirdest thing that Edgeworth has ever seen. I mean, he had a guy interview a parrot once, so.
How long were you waiting to make that particular joke?
Did you not hear me say objection several times when I was talking about him?
I mean, I'm still in like a red fog of rage.
I said objection several times. I said hold it.
Good for you.
So brilliant. I mean, I'm sorry. The shittiness of Twin Dilemma distracted me from your
these twins. Oh my god.
That's basically, we're not working. Fuck you. Mestor, I'm going to fucking kill you if you don't work. So it's like, okay, fine. We'll do our math. He's
going to extract their brains?
Yeah.
I think he said that.
It's something. I've still got the transcript up. Well, he believes in the sanctity of life. I do not. Fail to obey Edgeworth once more, and I will have your minds removed from your bodies and use them as I wish.
Yeah. Which the minds can't actually, do anything with the calculations, but you do, Mester. But then the twins show that they can't act again because one, I can't remember which one it is. One says to the other one, "I've never been so frightened in my life." And I've just got my notes. You're doing a terrible job of showing it then, because it's so deadpan.
I think that's a little later. I think.
Well, maybe I just wasn't taking notes for part of it.
It's a later scene, but yeah, okay.
And
but
everybody laughed at me when I said, "Oh, I hate kid actors. They always suck. There's only a couple of them who actually managed to be good."
No, I agreed with you.
Now everybody here feels my pain.
I said there were some good child actors. These are not two of them.
I need to go back a bit because the doctor, after the scene where Mestro's like, "Work or you'll die," the doctor is doing some spacey bullshit with the med kit to fix up Hugo Lang, and he says, and remember what I yelled about just like 5 minutes ago, and he says, and I quote, "Excellent. Oh, the satisfaction, Perry, knowing one has saved the life of a brave young man."
Oh my god.
See, I'm very much enjoying this because usually it's me who's getting mad, and now I get to watch you two finally get mad at something.
Breathe in.
Oh, okay.
Breathe out. Okay. Breathe in.
Hey, Kat.
Yes.
Who's picking next?
Yes, I know.
Fuck.
Breathe in. Right, I'm okay.
You were so confident that last time that I would also be, messed up after watching this, and I'm like having a fantastic time.
I didn't think you had the slightest.
I did not consider that you were going to riff it. That's on me.
I knew you'd be having a ball, so
that one's on me. You can take the W here, Kat. You can take the W. We'll just for Wumba, yes.
I'll just send an excerpt of this podcast to the women posting their W's Twitter page.
So now what's going on here in the story at this point?
Oh yeah, the doctor's getting caught.
The doctor's oh wait, that's is that a little later?
Not according to my notes, it's not because.
Yeah. Oh, okay, yeah. So the doctor and Perry go out to investigate Titan 3, and the doctor is he's doing something that kind of he's being very theatrical as he's
Well, we should also
poetry.
mention the reason they decide to go out and explore is that they're looking out the viewing, whatever you want to call it, at Titan 3,
screen.
And they happen to notice something, and Perry's like, "I don't see anything," and everybody else, including the audience, are like, "Bitch, there's a giant ass pyramid right there. We can see it."
She's just like, "Oh, that's just a bump in the title. A bump.
It has right angles, lady."
So
We can see it's not a bump.
It's clearly some sort of space base.
Cut Perry some slack. She was strangled 20 minutes previous to this.
Yeah.
So she doesn't have enough air to her brain to realize.
This is actually, I kind of like this. This is more of the Sixth Doctor that we love, in a sense. He walks out and he starts quoting poetry. He's all theatrical and bombastic, which is a Sixth Doctor, sort of Sixth Doctor you can get behind. He's loudly quoting poetry. Longfellow. I try and, like, cheer Perry up, I guess. So they find a vent. Very sus, I know. And they head on down.
Don't even do that. It doesn't deserve it.
I'm contractually obligated. Remember, I've got goddamn microbe bombs in my brain.
Well, you're not obligated by me.
But they head on down, and then we get the scene that you were talking about with the twins. Like, I've never been so frightened in my entire life. So
emote a little, will you guys?
Oh no, I am terrified in this moment. Brother, please hold me, for I am terrified.
That slug man was really scary, brother.
They're eating him. They're going to eat me. Oh my god.
So,
and that's better than this.
So they're heading around in the cave. They're going through these tunnels. It's corridor bullshit. And here's more hypocrisy. Okay, this hypocrisy had to have been intentional. Like, it happens again. It had to have been. Either that, or this is the most incompetent bullshit. It doesn't stop me from being absolutely fucking infuriated by it. But I'm going to call intentional on the hypocrisy here. The effect is still the same that pisses me off, but still incompetent. But basically, what happens is Perry is hearing noises of machinery, and he's just like, "Oh, doctor, let's get out of here." And the doctor's like, "Oh, that's the perpetual cry of all cowards. We have to investigate." Note the use of the phrase cowards there, because they get caught by these aliens. I assume they're from, I think they're Jacondans.
These are the Jacondans, yes.
They're like bird people. But they point guns at them, basically. They're in on the scheme. And the doctor basically throws Perry under the bus here. It's like, "Oh no, please don't shoot. It was all her idea." And he cowers behind her. "Shoot her, not me. Shoot her, not me. Ooh, ooh."
Yeah. Where to start with this? I could forgive this if we knew that this was a ploy by the Doctor.
I mean, going back to Frontios, Ike's least favorite episode, at least when the Doctor pretended to side with the villains, you knew it was a ploy in a way. And the ploy thing is done better in the Sixth Doctor story, Mind Warp. Which I don't know if you've gotten to that one yet in your Blu-ray cat.
No, I haven't.
That'll be something for you, but it's sort of done better there. But here it's just, it's obviously more post-regenerative trauma, but it still fucking sucks to see.
Again, if this were played as, oh, the Doctor is deliberately drawing his enemies into a ploy here to let their guard down, I could forgive it. But that's not what they're doing here. When he says, "Oh no, shoot her, not me," he means it. So, in just the first 2 episodes, you have a Doctor who's tried to strangle his companion and then tried to throw her under the bus.
He also was like, "Oh, you're not going to save this poor innocent man. I'm not going to save this man. He tried to kill me. Look, Perry, I saved this man. Aren't I great?"
He does try to pass himself off and her as pilgrims, lowly travellers. It doesn't work. Can we also talk a little bit about the Jacondans as well? The design of the Jacondans. It's not the worst alien design that has ever been done, but it's a bit not low budget. It's a bit tame, I guess.
Yes.
It could look better. And also, one of the actors didn't even bother to shave his mustache off.
Cesar Romero up in this bitch.
Yeah, Cesar Romero in Batman. He refused to take it.
So the Jacondans take their prisoners into the main base. And then the Doctor and Edgeworth meet, and at first he's like, "I don't know, wait, who's you? Oh, I know you." And it turns out that this guy is a Time Lord, and the Doctor knew him in a previous life, I believe. He says 2 regenerations ago, so it was Tom Baker, I guess.
Yes.
So that's something. So this guy's a Time Lord, and he actually rules the planet Chakanda. I don't know if that's revealed yet, but that's
Yeah.
we'll find out.
Yes,
His name's Asmael.
Asmael.
Yeah.
Yes.
Master
Meanwhile,
of Jakanda.
the plot contrivance fairy sprinkles her magical dust on the story because remember how Perry hid the power pack for Hugo's gun? Hugo wakes up, heads into the wardrobe room, looks around, picks out a spangly, tacky 80s shirt to wear for reasons, and it turns out the random shirt he picked is where Perry hid the power pack.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And he puts this jacket on, so it's gone from looking like a Starfleet wannabe to Timmy fucking Mallet.
Timmy fucking Right now, put Timmy fucking Mallet and Hugo Lang side by side.
It's done.
Yes.
As is my patience.
From Star Trek to discotheque.
That's good.
I mean,
that's good.
They do abbreviate the Star Trek Discovery show as Star Trek Disco.
Yeah.
Like how they have TNG, DS9, VOY, Star Trek Disco.
Also, I'm sorry.
All I can imagine now are a bunch of red shirts singing "Staying Alive."
Oh my god!
This will be the day that I die.
I mean, if you want, hang on. I gotta find an image. Can I find this image?
I'm sorry, but when Edgeworth reveals himself as Asmael, all I can think of was the Binding of Isaac.
Okay. Yeah.
That'll
do it.
It's close enough.
Here's my thought process. I was like, it's too bad there wasn't a Star Trek series in the 1970s so that we could have proper disco influence in Star Trek. Wait, didn't the first Star Trek movie come out in 1979? Oh, right.
Yeah.
And I put a thing in the chat.
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
Oh, you did? Saturday Night Star Trek?
He looks like he should be a member of the Bee Gees.
I know, right?
He looks like he's been shot.
Also, let me just say,
Chris is typing. It's just. Is it a 7-story time? I need my water. Oh, thank you, Krista. Oh, thank you. That's the best. The live reaction bullshit. No, that's going in the edit. Yes. Oh, God. Wait. Oh, she said it's a 7th story because it's Dr. McCoy. Oh, I get it.
Yes, I get it, but thank you, Krista, for making something
all right,
come out of this.
Let's speed through.
Yeah, so Asmael is the Doctor's teacher, I believe.
Something like that, yeah.
One of his tutors, and the Doctor refers to a story where Asmael got so drunk he had to throw him in a fountain.
Oh my god.
To sober him up. I mean, it's backstory of a kind, I guess.
I guess.
Now, interesting about Asmael, the writer actually messed this up because this was possibly intended anyway. In one of the Tom Baker stories, an old Gallifreyan hermit is referenced. Not Campo, a different Gallifreyan hermit.
And what story is that?
Oh, I don't know which one exactly. Let me pull up the TARDIS wiki page for a second. It'll tell me.
Can I just say, here's another part of our segment of ways TARDIS Wiki has fucked up. So his name is Asmael. A-Z-M-E or M-A-E-L, right?
Yeah.
Asmael.
Yes.
They spell his name as Asmael so many times in his wiki page. And it switches between the two.
In fairness,
times.
I've definitely misspelled his name a couple of times in my notes.
But also, have a goddamn editor go over this shit.
Okay, Time Monster and State of Decay.
Oh, Hey, we've done one of those.
Yeah, so actually, it is Campo, technically, but it's not supposed to be Campo. Oh, God, do you know who suggested this particular wrinkle to the story? Ian Levine.
Oh, fuck!
It's Ian Levine that suggested it, so maybe it's not right.
It's everybody's favorite.
As if I didn't have enough bullshit to worry about.
It's not even the last time I'm going to have to reference Ian Levine in this.
Oh, Christ!
Yeah, why do you think I hate this so much?
Why the fuck do you have to bring up Ian Levine in regard to this shit?
Well, you'll see why in a minute. You're right about Asmael. He was the Master of Gioconda, whatever that means. He's no longer the Master of Gioconda, whatever that means.
Can I just speed through episode 2 really quick here?
That's what I was trying to do, but go ahead.
Okay, so Asmael and Co are like, "Oh, Doctor, you can't interfere with our plans. We're beaming out of here," and they beam out with the twins in tow, and they also lock the teleport control center. It's like, it's got 10 million combinations. You'll never be able to crack it. Bye-bye. Whoosh. But also, one of the Gicondans activates the self-destruct, because I'm going to blow them up. So, Asmael did this so the Doctor could eventually get away, not fast enough to stop their plan. So he's like, 10 million combinations. I can figure that out in, a day or two. So I better get to work. And, well, he does, once he realizes that shit's going to blow up, he's like, I've got to rewire this stuff and get us out of here. So he does some bullshit hacking. And as near as I can tell, do I still have the transcript up? Oh, fuck, I closed the tab like a buffoon. Of course I want to get away from the story as fast as I can. Okay, he does a hack and he says, and I quote, "That is known as a revitalizing modulator. It breaks down your molecular structure and puts it back together again. A most refreshing process." So, as like a healing version of the Star Trek teleport?
It sounds a little bit more kind of like a spa treatment.
Right. Anyway, he says, until now, that's the only purpose it served. I have improvised. It will take you back in time.
Yeah.
Like 10 seconds or something like that?
10 seconds
That's the only explanation you get for this.
Wow.
May I remind everybody that 10 seconds ago, they were still in the base.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, he needs to borrow her watch to compensate for so-and-so and such and such. Anyway, Perry gets beamed out and back in time onto the TARDIS or something. Hugo Lang's like, "What are you doing here?" Here you pulls the gun. Perry doesn't even give a shit. She opens the view screen just in time to see the whole pyramid thing explode. And she's like, "Oh, no, it's been blown." End episode 2.
Yeah.
Episode 3. Yeah. Episode 3's cliffhanger says that Perry's watch was fast, and the Doctor accidentally beamed himself slightly into the future.
Oh, not even fast. He said it was stopped.
Yeah, the watch was stopped. So he had to guess it. And because of that, we see a sort of like an echo of him briefly, and then he actually beams into the TARDIS for real.
It was like out of phase or something, and he beams back. And
either way, it's time for the scene that pisses Frez off.
Wait, is it time for...
and possibly more than Frez.
I mean, it's not the worst thing that pisses me off about this, but...
Really? Well, this is my breaking point.
Well, please, go ahead, Frez, and talk about it.
Go on.
So, let's see. So, Perry is just like, once he beams back, he's like, "Oh, your watch was slow, so stop." So I had to compensate, but it's okay, I'm fine now. And Perry's like, "Oh, I thought you were killed. You cared? Of course I did. I'll never understand the people of Earth. I've spent the day using, abusing, even trying to kill you. If you'd as behaved as I have, I should have been pleased at your demise. It's called compassion, Doctor. It's the difference that remains between us. Earthlings." Fuck.
Right.
Fuck. The fuck.
Right. The compassion, the difference remains between us bit is good.
I don't know if I can even go that far. Like, the Doctor, the central figure in the show, doesn't fucking know what compassion is.
Yeah.
The time-traveling hero with a strong sense of justice and morality doesn't know what compassion is! Do I have to explain how that is fucked up beyond belief?
A little louder for the people at the back, Jerry. I don't think they heard you.
God, more to the
Oh, I
point.
wish I had some popcorn. This is fantastic.
More to the point, like, this is when I realized that this was done infinitely better with the 12th Doctor. Like, the 12th Doctor, early 12th Doctor, for that first season, is Colin Baker done, I'm sorry to say, right, per se. Writing-wise. Because you've got this Doctor, he's abrasive, he's brash, a bit of an asshole. He does some really horrible shit in Deep Breath, like leave his companion supposedly to die. And, you know, it's part of a plan, as is revealed, but I still didn't like it at the time. I don't even like Deep Breath that much, but it's infinitely better than this. But also, the 12th Doctor is this abrasive, brash, lacking in compassion and detached from humanity and the little person sort of character. But he is constantly pondering and wondering to Clara, am I still a good person? That's what drives him through that first series.
Yeah.
And it continues to drive him. Like, you've got stuff like Into the Dalek, where he cracks a joke at that guy who gets disintegrated, and it's just like, oh, that was part of my plan. Sacrifice him to figure out more about what's going on. So he has that sort of dark streak to him, but he's still internally struggling with the fact, am I still a good person? And then you get to the end of Death in Heaven, that wonderful monologue at the end of the climax where he's like, thank you, I finally understand. Yeah. I am a moron who just tries to do the right thing. I am a good person. And then you come to this shit.
Well, he doesn't even come to he's a good person.
He's just an idiot trying to do the right
thing. He's not a good man. He's not a bad man.
He's just an idiot. Yes.
I am
an idiot in a blue box.
Just passing through, helping out, learning.
And then, meanwhile, you've got this chuckle fuck writing the new Doctor, and it's like, well, I don't know what compassion is. You should have left me to die. You should have been happy because I've been a shitlord. And that's what happened. It's like fucking... It's Doctor Who, not Rick fucking Sanchez!
Yeah.
He's not a nihilistic, uncaring shitlord. Oh my god. That's what really struck me on this watch. Like, other watches of the story have been like, oh, okay, it's kind of trashy, it's kind of bad, kind of like Kat's perspective. But then, you know, you just get into a different critical mindset for Doctor Who reviews. At least I do. When I come to these, like, I really take my notes. I really analyze what's being said and how it ties in thematically and stuff. Like, it's not just watching for enjoyment, it's watching to analyze. And watching it to analyze, it's like, this is completely morally fucking bankrupt to the concept of Doctor Who.
The worst thing about this whole little bit is, yes, the Doctor does recognise at least that he's behaved appallingly, but he's still so arrogant about it.
Yep.
He's still a smug idiot. Even, like, I would argue that the moment he snaps to himself, quote unquote, is at the end of this episode. Because I checked. In episode 4, he's not really this brash and abrasive, and he's trying to help people, and he's trying to save the day. So the Doctor has arrived as of episode 4.
This is marginally better in episode 4. Marginally better.
Marginally. But it's nowhere near like the I almost said retcon. The walk back they have to do for Colin Baker in his later stories. Like, he's still kind of a jerk, but he's not like, he's never this level of jerk again, except arguably in Mind Warp, and that is the point of that story. For reasons that we'll get to one day if we ever talk about
so much.
Can you guys possibly imagine what it would have been like if this had aired when the internet was around?
Oh my god.
I mean, oh god, yeah.
I mean, I can actually, because this is how people react. Some people react to Deep Breath online.
Yeah.
I mean, I certainly remember watching Deep Breath and going, "Oh my god, I'm not feeling it. I don't like this guy."
This is where we differ, because I think Deep Breath is fantastic.
Yeah, well, it took until Listen for me to really, really snap into Peter Paul and going, oh, actually, this is brilliant. I love this.
He had
My
me hooked from the
mother
start. But
and stepdad sometimes watched Doctor Who. They really liked number 11. They said they
Mhm.
didn't like 12 because he was too old.
Oh, fuck. And another thing, while I'm thinking about it, while we're comparing Sixth Doctor and 12th Doctor, and of course, my bias is shining through. But the 12th Doctor had a companion who would smack him upside the head and call him on his bullshit.
Yeah, Clara was.
she
All
once tried to
Perry
slap him
does
so
is
hard he'd regenerate.
she gets occasional little digs in at him, but the Doctor always like outshouts her about it. I'm not being the asshole. I'm not being the asshole. And she backs down every single goddamn time. Clara would not be having that shit.
No, Clara doesn't back down. That's the whole point.
Exactly, and
The,
that's
the
what.
abrasiveness in the early going anyway between 12 and Clara is fantastic.
And that's what made me love Clara. Is when I was analyzing the fact that she's a teacher and she's teaching him to be a better person.
There's a great line into the Dalek. I'm his carer. It's exactly his carer. I care, so he doesn't have to.
Yeah, there you go. That's what endeared me to Clara.
Or she cares, so I don't have to. But you get the point.
And then she started mirroring him, and then I just fell down a complete rabbit hole. That's besides the point. That's the point. The point is they're such a great team. Six and Perry. Perry, for all her standing up to the Doctor, she backs down every single time. She gets outshouted, and I don't like that.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's
very,
like
can I use this word without causing any offence? I'm going to try it anyway. She's very submissive.
yeah.
I can definitely see where you're coming from there.
She
Yeah.
does get
Is she
moments where
like
talks
that when
back to
she's
him.
with 5?
I mean, she's only with 5. I mean, 5 is nice.
5 was nice to her.
Yeah, 5 is nice to
Well,
her.
no, that's not what I mean. I mean more like so the episodes that I've seen of her or with her so far, she's always seemed like a set piece almost. Like she's just there to be there and be pretty.
Yeah, I don't think that good. I think that's even from her first appearance.
That's a little unfair, but yeah.
Did they ever treat her like that during 5's run, or is it just Six's run that
Well, she had 2 stories in 5's run, so
I'm just gonna say this. I'm like, oh, what's the percentage here? I'm like 90% sure. Her first scene in Doctor Who is her on a boat in a bikini. So does that answer your question?
that explains
I
so
think
much.
it does.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and even in Caves Androzani, she's sort of treated as like a prize by the baddies.
She's a damsel.
Yeah.
Damsel.
It's just that later in, I think part 4, she also gets the whole "I find this woman pleasing" thing. It's like,
oh my god! And again, Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah. So that's when my bottle of anger popped at this point. The whole compassion thing. That's just because seriously.
Oh, mine's still got the cork in.
Oh, I can't wait.
It's
coming.
coming. It's coming.
I can't wait
to
to. I can't wait to see where you go off.
Oh, you'll see.
I think I have a guess now. My guess is the villain's scheme. Am I on the mark?
Maybe you'll be right. Maybe you won't. Let's place the bets now, shall we?
Oh,
You've obviously had a rather traumatic experience with this whole scene. So why don't we go to something a bit lighter, like execution?
Oh yeah, so a Chikandan is brought before Stemestro and it's like, this man stole vegetables. The penalty is death. And he just blasts him with like a green overlay, and the guy goes, ah!
He gives him a fatal embolism.
Jesus Christ!
He induces an embolism in the poor guy.
That's fucked up.
But that's not even the worst part of it, because after the guy has been killed, his body's put into cold storage, and it's implied that he's going to feed the Gicondans in the future. Jesus Christ!
Yep.
God's sakes.
Soylent Green is little green people?
The Doctor and Lang and Perry go to Gikanda, And the doctor strolls out and he's got his eyes shut. He's like, "It's beautiful, beautiful." And this planet is just a piece of shit, desolate rock. And he's like, "Oh, wait. Oh, no, it's not supposed to be like that. Oh, no, the giant slugs have ruined everything. Oh, no."
This is the first time
Giant
we get the
slugs, but they're supposed to be a myth.
This is the first time we get the mention of the gastropods.
Ooh.
And indeed, this is what Mestor is. He is a gastropod. He is half human, half slug.
That helps explain how he walks on two legs.
And
I
then
guess.
I've written something in my notes that I'm not quite sure what it refers to, but I know it's in part 3. I've just got written, "Never cruel or cowardly, my ass."
Cruel or cowardly, my ass. I mean, that could set off like at least 5 things here.
Oh, self-pity is all I have left. There you go.
The doctor does not want to go to the palace because
That's
there's
it. That's
things
it.
there.
Never
yeah.
cruel or cowardly, my ass. Anyway,
Oh,
Also,
factually,
can I just say that Mestor's face looks like a penis?
I mean,
Can't be reading Doctor Who stating stuff.
penis aliens and Doctor Who are not exactly a new combination.
No, but he looks a lot like one.
I give you Alpha Centauri.
Also, you're mentioning that the palace thing, he doesn't want to go. Hey, guess what I see in the transcript? Oh, doctor, you must help. Is this another attempt to teach me compassion?
Oh my.
Yeah, they try to make that the center of the doctor's being,
It
like he's
just
going to
keeps
learn
getting shittier.
compassion.
He doesn't learn compassion at
It
the end
just
of this
gets
story.
shittier by the second.
I'm starting to seriously wonder because 12 is, obviously a you could divide it by 6. I'm starting to wonder if the 12th Doctor is supposed to be a redo of the 6th Doctor.
I mean, I had that thought as 12 was airing, so
A lot of people said that, yeah.
you're definitely.
Well, I hadn't seen the 6th Doctor at that point, so I'm just not getting this.
Yeah.
That's fair
So
enough,
there's a
but
big-
it was
there's
not
a big-
new, it was not an unusual train of thought amongst critics.
There's a big fight, it's like, oh, go to the palace. I don't want to go to the palace. And, there's another great thing. He's just like, oh, you can go, Hugo. You're young and strong. And look at me. I'm an old person. I have no vigor. And then he says, and I'm posting it here and you can put it in there. Then he says, you've seen this because I posted it as soon as it happened when I was watching it. He says this. Which, that had to have been an ad-lib.
I'm sorry, but this whole picture is the most colorful thing I've ever seen.
It was
We've
the
got
80s.
we've got the plaid nightmare, we've got the coat of many colors, and then we've got I don't even know a figure
Spangly
skater
Star
from
Trek.
the 80s.
Timmy Miller.
Spangly Star Trek.
We've got Ziggy Stardust over here.
No. You leave David Bowie out of this.
Oh, that actually reminds me. Someone managed to make this AI sound exactly like David Bowie, and it is the creepiest thing ever. I've got to share that with you guys.
Yeah. Please do that another time.
So, long story short, they go to the palace, and oh god.
Oh yeah. Before that happens,
Also, the doctor has this thing where Perry says lieutenant, and the doctor and Lang say lieutenant, and the doctor just says, "Don't be smug with me."
don't patronize him. Actually, no.
Like,
Please do patronize him because he deserves it.
As you've been saying, Rainiac, that doesn't deserve the meme.
It doesn't. You're right. It doesn't deserve the meme. It doesn't deserve any of the memes.
Now you both know how I feel every single time we talk about Timeless Children.
Moratorium on memes.
Mematorium.
Mematorium, yes.
Again, we all realize that this is a television show, but goddamn.
Which in itself is going to become a meme. God damn it, Jerry!
So
No, I'm calm. It's in the bottle. It's in the bottle. I'm good.
You're gonna pop that bottle. Eventually. But in other fuck off with this writing bullshit news, the doctor steps outside his TARDIS and looks at it and goes, "Oh, hideous! Absolutely hideous!"
And thumps it.
Don't you shit talk her!
He thumps it.
We do not shit talk the TARDIS.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
glad
here's
K9 isn't in this
another,
episode. He'd probably go, "Oh, a robot dog? That's absolute rubbish bullshit."
Here's another thing that's bullshit writing. As they go through the
Slugmas?
palace, the three of them are voicing gastropods. This is the only time in the story we see gastropods over the mess door.
See,
Their presence is not required in the story at all. It's not mentioned in the story at all apart from this.
well,
It
there's
solely
one
exists
thing.
to get Lang stuck to the floor.
Yep,
And that solely
about
exists to
it.
split the party up.
And well, we got some slug mythology, which fuck
They
is it
stick
saying here?
to high heaven. There's your mythology.
So they destroyed. So slugs went rampant on this planet, and then they were destroyed. But now the slugs are back, and they want to take over.
Yeah, they find like these wall paintings back in like the cave they were. I think it was in part 2. I honestly don't remember, and I don't care. But it depicts that the sun goddess sent down these gastropods in order to punish people. But then if she found out, oh wait, they're too much, let's get rid of them all.
Basically. So, as Rainiac said, a bunch of slugs go by, and Lang gets stuck in their the residue that they leave behind, and it hardens like as hard as concrete. So he starts trying to laser his feet free.
Which
you do.
I know that eventually they come to this conclusion, and it takes a while. But take your boots off.
Yeah. The only reason why
2
this
seconds.
is here is so that Lang is not present in the scene that's about to come up. So
Right.
I know, and it's very weak.
But
Because, again,
meanwhile,
take your shoes off.
Asmail, who is a very inconsistently written character, by the way.
inconsistent writing in this story?
One minute, this old guy is threatening the twins with, death. The next, he's being really nice to them and compassionate.
He finally does explain what he wants them to do. He shows a chart of the Jakandan solar system. So he's like, this is Jakanda's sun. This is Jakanda. And here's 2 other planets in orbit around Jakanda's sun. So our plan is we use your supermath to calculate out a stable orbit so that the 2 lesser planets can orbit Jakanda, and then they'll have the same atmosphere and living conditions as these others, as Jakanda does, so we can triple our resources.
Well, before he explains that to them, what happens is Mr. actually comes to the lab where they're all, shored up and whatnot. And they see like all these gastropod eggs, and those won't come relevant later. But Mr.'s like, I swear my aims are benevolent. I want to do all this great stuff. And Asmail actually asks him, hey, can you please stop reading my thoughts? It's like stopping me from being able to do work.
Oh yeah, Mr. can read thoughts.
And can you stop this guy from watching me all the time? Because seriously, how am I going to get these kids to cooperate if they're being watched and I'm constantly being monitored and I can't concentrate on that? And that's when eventually he's able to tell them what's going on.
Right.
Yeah, they do leave one Jakandan. His name is Drac.
Who seems to be on their side.
Yeah,
so.
Drac actually says that he considers Asmail a friend. And Asmail says that could cost you your life. And unfortunately, that does come true later on. But
yeah,
for now, he's alive.
Back into the cave, Lang can't get free, and we have another bullshit. Like I said, with the 12 Clara parallel, Perry basically bitches at the Doctor for being an asshole. And instead of, the Doctor realizing he's being an asshole, he's just like, that's it, I'm out of here, I'm not putting up with this shit, and he's going to leave.
Bye, bitches.
Real fucking mature.
We get one moment here that I actually kind of like.
What's that?
Even though it's weak. And it's when Asmail is describing his scheme to the twins, and the Doctor just bursts in, points at him dramatically and goes, "Villain! Murderer!"
And tries to choke him.
And
tries to choke him out. Hey, look at that.
Yeah, the choking out is not so great, but I just love the dramatic pointing.
Yeah. And hey, Rainiac. Hey, Cat. What does the Doctor say after he realizes that Asmail is not a villain? What does he say to the man.
Oh, he apologizes.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Couldn't you do
because
that
again,
with
they're
Perry?
super sexist against Perry.
God fucking damn it.
Yeah, this... The cork
It's like,
nearly
seriously,
out.
I'm convinced
The
whoever
cork is
was
nearly
running
out.
the show at this time really just did not like Perry, because it is crazy how sexist they are against her.
God
So,
almighty.
the Doctor attacking his old teacher and apologising, by itself, fine. By itself...
Is the cork coming out? Is the cork coming out?
The cork is starting to bob to the surface.
Oh boy.
Yes, release it.
By itself.
Release it.
By itself, that's fine. A little bit weak, but it's fine. But it's what you say that he doesn't apologise to Perry. And yeah, alright, Asma's his tutor, but Perry's his goddamn travelling companion.
Oh.
And what's the one golden rule of Doctor Who? Well, one of the golden rules of Doctor Who.
Cruel or cowardly?
Well, no, I don't mean like his moral code. I mean the show. About the Doctor and his companions.
They're friends.
About how the Doctor treats it. What? Say that again. They're friends.
They're friends.
Then have him treat her as a friend.
I know, right?
Just once in this stupid, sorry, pathetic serial. Just have the Doctor treat Perry as a friend and vice versa. But no, we can't have that because this Doctor's got to have layers, like the fucking onion from Shrek.
That's the point. See, that's the thing that they kept saying in retrospect, is that this Doctor was supposed to have layers. He's supposed to start out as an asshole, but then you peel back and you see, oh, he's actually a good person all along, which...
So basically what they did with Capaldi, but wrong.
90
But
minutes.
wrong,
I mean,
yeah.
90 minutes in before the court pop. That's not too bad.
Because they did it so badly in this first serial that, you know, come next year, the show gets put on hiatus. Then the year after that, they're like, oh, Colin Baker, you're fucking fired.
Yeah.
So, great job.
Again, and it's not his fault.
It's not. It really isn't. I'm criticizing the idea of the whole slow burn asshole. Oh, he's actually not so bad. They got to. He's an ass. He's a major asshole.
There was a
He's not so
reason
much of it.
for it, and maybe I should bring this up now.
Yeah, maybe we should.
So Colin Baker believes... Colin Baker has stated that the whole idea of his writing in this story... Keep it together, man, keep it together. Is this.
No, fall
Yes,
apart.
he was supposed to be an absolute dickhead in the beginning. But he believed he was going to be the Doctor for many years. And over the years, he would gradually warm up to being the Doctor. He would gradually show a much more compassionate side of his Doctor. We'd start to despise him. We'd start off despising him, and we'd slowly grow to like him. Do you know the problem with this grand plan?
Is that they got to, you despise him, you don't despise him so much, you don't despise him a little less, oh, he's been fired.
Yeah, he got 12 stories.
Oh.
And again, I have to say, in isolation, and assuming that he did get that full run, maybe this would have been so bad. But, you know, penultimate story of season 21, actually, ultimate story, I'm sorry, penultimate was Caves of Anjani. Last story of season 21, initial first impression you get for 9 months is, this Doctor's a great big asshole. Tune in next season, motherfuckers.
Yes.
Actually, I don't think I will be tuning in next season.
No.
Because this guy...
Can I just shotgun to the cliffhanger of this episode?
So the cliffhanger is basically
Yeah.
just... go
Okay,
ahead.
so Lang gets free of the slime. 5 seconds later, he's clubbed from behind by Jacondan soldiers. Perry is captured because she's a damsel in distress and brought before bootleg Jabba the Hutt.
And this, I think, is the moment when I think, I can't tell because the story's so goddamn muddled, but I think this is the moment when the manic post-regenerative bullshit wears off, because the Doctor is actually like trying to save Perry. He's like, "Oh no, I have to save Perry. You can't save Perry. We'll be caught. Oh no, but Mester is going to kill her." Like, he actually cares about her life.
Yeah,
Compassion.
As Mill
How about
says, she must
that?
die if it needs be. So that whole thing about him not being a villain, you sure about that, Doctor?
Hey, look at that.
Are you
The
sure about that?
The motherfucker learned compassion. You know, the value that he should.
Unfortunately, he learned it when Perry wasn't there to hear him say it.
Womp womp.
Well, on the bright side, we only have one episode left. So
Yeah.
let's dive in. Let's dive in to episode 4.
Isn't part 4 a doozy?
So part 4 begins, and it has exactly like you said. Mestor has Perry at his in his chambers, and he's just going, "I find her pleasing."
Oh
Please.
my god. Next he's going to dress her up in a bikini and have her in chains.
Don't encourage him.
Listen. At the very least, Carrie Fisher got to strangle that motherfucker to death.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's what this should have had. It should have been Perry that threw the acid.
Well, we're getting ahead of
Oh
ourselves.
my god. Yeah, I know.
And the Doctor has a line here, as all this shit is happening, that really does, show that I think the Doctor is back at himself again. I'm just trying to find the exact line in the transcript. Someone tells him to calm down, and the Doctor's like, "How? The very core of my being is on fire with guilt and rage."
Yeah, that's not a bad line.
Which, that's... Hey, Doctor Who is here finally, I guess.
It took him an hour.
After, 4 weeks now?
It took it 3, but yeah.
Yeah, so, well, anyway, then he gets summoned to perform Mestor, and he basically offers to help the guy.
I think they think he's Lang. Because they talk about the one that they left unconscious when they took the girl. So they think he's Lang, but he's not Lang. And yet he offers to help Mestor. Now, if this were any other Doctor, if this were any other story, I'd be convinced this was a clever ploy on the part of the Doctor to lower the villain's defences so he can stop him. The way that Colin Baker has been portrayed up to now... Sorry, the Doctor's been portrayed up to now by Colin Baker. I'm not sure.
I'm sorry. I just got a pop-up from Discord where Mike has said Twin Dilemma is still 5 out of 10.
I love you, but you're out of your mind. You're out of your goddamn mind.
The timing on that.
No! Hang on. Yes,
Part 4 more than saves it from being bad.
I don't agree. I don't agree. No, no, it doesn't. We are live right now. Guess what? We are recording right now, Mike. I'm just reading the chat for all you. No, just no. Part 4.
Well, Mike, you got your comeuppance for Frontier, so well done.
Everyone's getting payback. Anyway,
I'm not.
What?
I'm not getting payback. I'm being given the payback.
So let's fast forward through this shit.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that.
Mestor gets a great line after where someone's like, "What do you think of this Doctor?" And he's like, "He's egocentric, willful, and quite mad."
Yeah, pretty good summing up of him, honestly.
The Doctor's offering to help.
Oh, he also gives the Chamberlain an embolism, but it doesn't kill him. What?
It's the mind brain blast. I don't know.
That's not how embolisms work.
Maybe it's not an embolism. Maybe it's just a mild brain blast. I don't know.
No, it is an embolism because Dr. Lizzie refers to it. To the
Also,
Chamberlain.
you gotta stop saying brain blast because I keep thinking of Jimmy Neutron.
Jimmy Neutron would be better than this shit.
Anyway, back in Nazmil's chamber, it turns out he's overlooked a massive problem with his scheme here.
Oh, but before that, we have to deal with the gonzo-ness of his scheme. The gonzo nature of it is the fact that he needed the supermath that can alter reality to time shift the 2 lesser planets in Jakanda's orbit. in the solar system, time shift them so they exist in the same place but in like different time zones, which
Yeah, and essentially they're doing this so that they can turn these two smaller planets into viable atmospheres so that they can use them as quote-unquote Jaconda's pantries.
but we fucked up.
Yeah,
This
we have to
plan's
brought about the
actually
apocalypse.
Because if you do that shit, the orbits of the planets will decay, and they'll soar off into the sun.
Yeah, because they're smaller than Jaconda.
They'll fly too close to the Jacondan sun, like a Jacondan Icarus.
Bird people. Speaking of bird people, Mestor somehow opens the door to the TARDIS with his mind powers, and they go inside.
Here comes that cork again.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
Are we...
This serves no purpose.
Hang on, let me shake up the bottle a couple of times.
Well, if you do, it's going to hit that camera.
Hey,
Rain.
We're in part 4, and you haven't stopped yet?
They're inside the TARDIS, Rain, because they just opened the door.
It's going to hit that camera in the dick if you do that, but...
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about as well. So yeah,
I'm moving through this pretty quickly.
Mestor opens the TARDIS with his mind.
Yep.
Why?
I don't know.
The TARDIS doesn't follow his plans at all. He doesn't even indicate that he knows what the TARDIS is up to this point.
Well, he knows what Time Lords are. So
the Chamberlain and his goons go into the TARDIS. We don't see them again until about 5 minutes before the episode ends. The TARDIS being entered by villains is a big deal. And it's absolutely of no consequence whatsoever here.
Nothing happens.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
So,
absolutely nothing comes of it.
Now we get to Mestor's real plan, because he knows this shit's gonna happen. So the Doctor and friends go to the gastropod hatchery and examine the eggs, and they find out that Hugo's laser gun can't get through them. They're hard as shit and able to withstand a great amount of heat. Say the heat from a planet exploding in the sun. Oh, that's his evil plan. He did it deliberately. He wants the planets to fly into the sun and have the eggs on them, so when the planets fly into the sun and explodes, the eggs will get scattershotted all across space, and we'll have slug babies every fucking where. Huh. It's my evil scheme.
That's the plan.
That's the plan.
Yes.
Is the cork coming out?
That's pretty much it. Well, I like it.
Is the cork coming out?
Not for this. No, the villain.
Not for this? How much? We don't have much left.
The villain scheme is fine. It's not great. It's not terrible. It's just fine. It's passable science fiction.
It's original, at least.
It's original. It's passable science fiction.
Oh, having talked about all this plan and how they're going to stop Mestor, they go to say, "Hey, Drac, let's do a thing." Drac?
And he's dead.
Drac? Oh, it's worse than dead. Because Mestor used his mind powers to hollow out his brain, and he's basically been using them as a spy camera.
Yeah, that's
so he knows everything.
He took control of Drac, or he saw through his eyes, and the effort killed the poor guy.
But he saw enough, I guess,
to realize one member of this race that's got any kind of redeeming qualities, and they kill him.
So then the Doctor proceeds to grab some chemicals, a vial of chemicals from the lab here, and he and Asmael go to confront Mestor finally.
Yeah.
And the Doctor hurls this shit at
force
Mestor,
field.
but Mestor has a force field with his psychic powers, and he's like, "Whoa!
Yay, force field,
Doctor!"
It's almost like, people would have actually protected themselves or something like that.
There's a confrontation between Mestor and the Doctor. It ends with him throwing a bottle of, it turns out to be acid at him. It's blocked by the force field. While this is going on, Noma, who is the Jacondan who tried to blow up the Doctor and Perry earlier, has been sent by Mestor to retrieve the twins and kill Hugo Lang. It goes well because Lang gets the drop on them, kills the soldiers, and keeps Noma alive.
Yeah. Bang, bang. There's a bit of a shootout, yeah. And, well, he doesn't kill him.
He kills
we should mention that once they finish the calculations, the doctor's like, destroy any notes you have, keep it all in your head, because then they would want to keep the twins alive, and that's the whole reason they're
Yeah,
going
that's
after the
actually a
twins.
bit of good. That's actually a bit of good thinking on the part of the Doctor.
Yeah, yeah.
Asmiel was with him, but he's a bit of a coward. He mentions something that is important for later on. He says, "On my last regeneration,"
Yes.
but that's why he's a coward about it. The Doctor, by comparison, is starting to actually show a bit of bravery, which is good.
He's acting like Doctor Who a bit here. Finally,
There is just a germ of a potential redemption here.
bit.
And then they go and fuck it up, but we'll get to that later.
I am 95% sure that this was Colin Baker improvising and not them actually writing anything
It had
good.
to have been.
All right.
It had to have
This
been.
is pretty classic standard Doctor Who fare here, where the Doctor is just sort of sassing Mestor. Is like, oh, and he's like, Doctor, I could destroy your mind in a second. And it's like, oh, really? Well, my mind is a Time Lord mind. I'm Big King shit. You can't do shit to me. And then Mestor decides to demonstrate, and he does the thing to Asmael. And what he does is he takes over Asmael's mind, and then Asmael's like quivering, and he's speaking in Mestor's voice, like, "Oh, now I'll do it to you, Doctor."
This is so
Which
shit.
I know that this was, during a time where they didn't have like all the best effects and everything. You couldn't lip sync better than that.
Oh, you saw that? You noticed that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah. The lip
It's not
syncing that Asmael's doing to Mestor's voice is very poor.
It's not great.
No offense to the actor here. No offense to Maurice
Yeah,
Denham.
I'm pretty sure it's just a timing thing. Maybe the sound design was off or
But
something.
yeah,
Who knows?
the lip sync is all over the place here, and it just
Yeah.
ruins the scene. What should be
Well,
a rather
Yeah,
dramatic
it
moment.
feels like I'm watching a Godzilla movie.
What should be a rather
Jesus.
dramatic moment at the end of the story is
Feels like
reduced
you're
to a
watching
farce.
Kung Pao enter the fist.
It's reduced to a farce. Kung Pao, yes. Kung Pao's better than this.
Oh yeah.
I know
so,
there's some people who wish that they could do something with a fist to these people, namely punching.
So the idea here is that Asmael manages to speak as himself, and he's like, "Quick, Doctor! While he's battling control for my mind, his body's weakened. His controls spread out too much." And so the Doctor gets another vial of that acid, hucks it at Mestor. Mestor melts.
Did we forget about the
But,
force
his
field?
mind- Yeah, no force. Well, he didn't have enough energy to project the force field this time
Yeah.
because he's spread too thin. That's
I
the point.
suppose, but
Yeah.
he wouldn't be projecting the force field. It'd be like technology, but whatever.
No,
Also-
I'm pretty sure the force field is projected by his mind.
Can
Alright.
I just say I do wish that it wasn't actually acid. I wish he had thrown salt at him.
Do you know
God.
what? That would have been great.
That would have been funny.
You know what's wild is that there's actually an episode of I can't think of where I saw. What is that show? What's that show with Ricky Gervais where he does shit? Not The Office.
Extras?
Yeah, that's the one. And there's actually like a bit where he's in Doctor Who with David Tennant, and he's a slug man, and they throw salt at him.
Yeah.
So
And of course, years later, the Doctor would use, well, not Doctor, but one of the Doctor's friends would use vinegar to kill an alien.
which one is that?
The Savine.
Oh yeah,
Huh.
right. Okay.
Because they made of calcium, so it...
So, Mestor is in Asmael's mind, and they're fighting for dominance. But Asmael decides, oh, fuck you, I'm going to regenerate. But you're out of regenerations. Yes, so I'm going to die now. And that kills them both. It exorcises Mestor from his mind, and Asmael gets a poignant death scene.
Yeah.
So,
They sort of throw back to this a little bit in Nightmare in Silver.
really?
The Doctor doesn't go through with it, but he says, I could regenerate right now, burn up any cyber widgets left in my brain. And of course, a few stories later, we learn he's actually on his final regeneration day. Oh, sorry, thanks.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he was threatening to do the same thing to get rid of the Cyber Planner. He didn't go through with it, because the Cyber Planner was like, oh, it's a stalemate then.
Yeah, and just a few episodes later, we find out that he isn't actually on his final regeneration. And then a couple of series later, we find out that it doesn't even fucking matter.
Yep. Screen Rant has a lot to answer for.
So it's a bit of a poignant, Destino, Asmel, rest in peace, old friend. It's some fine acting from Colin Baker. So
He refers
Yeah,
to
it's
the
almost like
teacher,
he can actually fucking act when given a good
the
script.
greatest teacher I ever had,
yeah.
which is debatable, but fair enough.
Then we get to the resolution of the story, and here's another thing that's just like, wait, you were so close. You were so close here.
Yeah.
Where he comes back to the caves and he sees the Chamberlain and he's like, "Oh, you're the Chamberlain. I don't like you. Go fuck off."
Well, considering that the Chamberlain was privy to all this, and the fact that he stood by while that poor Jaconda was executed for stealing a few vegetables, I don't feel too sorry for the Chamberlain here.
Then Hugo Lang
But this should have been Noma.
Hugo Lang gets to become ruler of Jaconda.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. He's showing that he's beyond just being a policeman. He wants to stay and help. He's showing more compassion than the Doctor. God, why?
So we're at the end of the story. When the hell are you gonna get this bottle
right
uncorked?
Now?
Oh boy!
Yay!
So there is an iconic-ish line at the end of this,
which I believe I alluded to earlier.
Yeah, whatever else happens, Perry, I am the Doctor, whether you like it or not. Now, Colin Baker, give him his due, delivers this line perfectly.
They did not.
It's the smile.
The smug.
It's the
smile.
Fucking Perry's smile.
Bad.
We've gone through the whole story with Perry basically assuming the role of, I apologise here, a battered spouse.
Yeah, pretty much.
And it ends with her smiling at the person who's been abusing her for 90 minutes.
It's really bad.
Oh my God.
And she sticks around with this guy, there's more bullshit. There's some more like negging over.
I will say one
Dr.
good
Perry
thing about
era.
the Colin Baker era. This is a nadir.
This is definitely the worst Colin Baker story. Like, beyond a mile.
Even the next story, Attack of the Cybermen, was an improvement in terms of the Perry and Doctor's relationship.
They walked it back. They had to.
Yeah, the Perry.
I guess they had the intention of like, okay, well,
the
maybe
Perry and Doctor's relationship. Good God, my brain's dying.
Pop that bottle, Rainiac.
You had it
Go
corked
off.
too long.
Okay.
Go off. Go off.
I'm gonna go off because of all people, and it's nothing to do with Doctor Who, this quotation, but it fits perfectly. You might remember Chugga Conroy, the YouTuber, streamer, Let's Player.
Yeah.
He had a particular hatred of one particular video game, Paper Mario Sticker Star. And there was a stream that he did with Proton John, where John played through it and Chugga was a guest commentator. And he's holding it in, he's actually doing quite well. And at one point he just breaks and he shouts, and I quote, "Did they get one thing right? Did they make sure very meticulously that every single thing had to suck ass? Was that a requirement? That's the story.
Oh my God.
Every single thing about this sucks." I suppose this is my overall thoughts on it. That's fine. Everything about this sucks. The writing sucks. The circumstances sucks. The general story sucks. It's all terrible. If you like it, fair enough. But for me, it's terrible. This is the worst, comfortably, the worst classic story in Doctor Who I have ever seen. This is comfortably perhaps the worst Doctor Who I have ever seen. This is the first Doctor Who to make me actively angry since The Lie of the Land.
Yeah, mood.
The Talos Children, I was disappointed by it. I laughed at it. It might be the end of the show as we know it. But this was the end of the show as we know it. And this is why I have to agree with Ian Goddamn Levine. Because he says this is the beginning of the end for Doctor Who. And he's right. This story means I have to agree with Ian fucking Levine.
If it helps, Russell T Davies also said that this was the beginning of the end, so you can agree with him instead.
So did Colin Baker. He wasn't wrong.
Yeah.
Colin Baker also said that the twins' acting was terrible. He wasn't wrong there either.
I
Oh,
just mainly like thought of the fact that we shared that anecdote sometime later, and Kat was like, "Shit! If I'd have known Colin Baker hated the Twin Dilemma, I would have had him said something in the cameo."
Yeah. I was so worried it would be rude to start slagging off on it because, he was the one who was acting in it, and
yeah.
technically the Doctor was a huge
And I
part
also get the
of
feeling that
Twin Dilemma.
nobody in this story liked being in this serial. They didn't look like they were having a good time at all.
No.
And there's
Yeah,
one behind the scenes fact which I'm going to share with you now, which I was saving for this moment, which I think just perfectly
oh
demonstrates
no!
perfectly
Oh
demonstrates
no!
the problem between the Doctor and Perry,
Go on.
and how that actually bled into the real life on the set. So here we go, folks. Strap yourself in because this is nasty. Where is it? Here we are. Oh, and Peter Moffat also thinks it's his worst story ever written, so even he thinks it's terrible. Right. TARDIS Wiki. Colin Baker and Nicola Bryant had a frosty start to their relationship. Bryant had been nervous about suddenly becoming the senior member of the regular cast, and Baker had mistaken this for standoffishness on her part. On one occasion, Baker bit Bryant on the backside as a joke, which she tolerated. Kevin McNally then did the same, prompting her to punch him in the face, to which I say, "You go, girl." Baker took Bryant out to dinner as way of an apology, and they eventually did become friends. But what the hell?
Christ's sakes. That's not cool. At least he realized it wasn't cool and apologized, and they became friends. But that's still not cool.
I can sort of understand McNally thinking, misinterpreting it, thinking, "Oh, it's a joking thing they've done before. They've worked together before." No, they hadn't.
Oh,
I'm done.
God
I'm done.
So I'll give overall thoughts, I guess. It's bad. It's bad. It's like you said, it's the worst Doctor Who by a mile, worse than all this other shit. I don't know if it's the singular worst. Like, there are, of course, the problematic and racist Doctor to fucking watch again. At least about this, I can say Kat had the right idea. In the right mindset, you can sit there and riff on it and have a good time. Which I don't know if you can really do with the racist Doctor Who stories.
No.
Of which there are a couple out there. So it has slightly elevated from the bottom of the barrel. In that regard, in that specific context, but man, this is bad. This is bad. Like, you get the idea, but one of the ideas behind it could have worked. The ideas being a final story of the season with the new Doctor, so that you get used to them, or a Doctor who starts abrasive and then slowly becomes not abrasive and an asshole, or a story about a Doctor in post-regenerative trauma who very clearly comes out of it and apologizes for what he's done. But they did all of that bullshit once and completely fucked shit up. And they put the man in a rainbow coat, and that's like the straw that broke the camel's back, really. We can laugh at the coat, but with all that other bullshit added on top, they just looked, oh God, and he's even, fucking ice or, thanks. This story is very bad. It's just, you have the companion being treated like shit, and unlike someone like Clara, she doesn't get to stand up to the Doctor and stand her ground. She stands up to him, but he shouts her down every single time. And there are unfortunate undertones of abuse that you can read into the story as metaphor. And I really don't know if they intended that, if they wanted to go in that darker direction. I mean, they certainly intended the whole choking thing, but it's just they're trying to be, oh, look how dark and edgy we can be, this unpredictable Doctor. And instead, the people are just like, oh, fuck, this guy is just an asshole. I don't want to watch it. Like, Russell T Davies is right. This is the beginning of the end of the show.
Yeah.
It poisoned the well for Colin Baker, and that in turn led to the whole hiatus and cancellation. And even though the McCoy era was good by that point, the ship had sailed. Everyone was like, "Fuck Doctor Who! It's just a tacky bunch of bullshit, and we're not going to watch it." And then the show gets canceled for 15 years. It's the beginning of the end. All because they had all these weird ideas and they just shoved them all in at once without regard for what the fuck it meant symbolically or if it would be a good idea in the short term. It's good in theory in the long term, but you didn't get a long term because you fucked up and you only got a short term with Colin Baker.
You want to know something that'll really piss you off, Frez?
Oh, please.
This serial is the reason why the Seventh Doctor isn't as popular as she should be.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She's
yeah,
absolutely right, because people didn't forgive the show for this.
yeah. I mean, he was obscure, like nobody, only people who didn't, only like just low ratings in general back when the
Yep.
Seventh Doctor aired. Well, I mean, at least now he's become appreciated.
I just feel so bad for Colin Baker here, because
Colin Baker is a good actor, and
Yes.
in later stories, he is a good doctor. He is not playing a good doctor.
In fact,
this.
do you want to know something pretty fun?
What's that?
There was a poll that was conducted by Doctor Who magazine.
Oh,
They
good.
said that Colin Baker is the greatest of the Doctors in the audio plays.
and you know what? They're probably not wrong.
That's his great redemption, I will say.
He is
The
fantastic
Big Finish
in the
audiobooks
audiobooks.
are the great redemption of Colin Baker. There are some pretty good ones.
Jubilee, The Brink of Death, anything involving him and Constance.
He gets to fucking sing in one of them.
Oh god, the pirate
Sure.
one?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
I thought you were the pirate one, didn't I?
Yes, you did, and I'm so happy for it.
Yes. So Colin Baker is great. And also, you know, he put on a cardboard mask and sent a message to us idiots. So
Yeah, we will have a soft spot forever for Colin Baker.
And
Nothing
again,
that
I
we
did not
did.
ask him to do that. He just did it.
But yeah, fuck Twin Dilemma. Is it the worst Doctor Who ever? No. Is it shit? Yes. Can you enjoy that shit otherwise? Yes, in very specific contexts. Do I ever want to really watch it again? No, not really. But I might at one point in the future. Who knows? Anyway, Kat, what did you think?
Well, so obviously I had some fun with this. I went into it knowing that it was going to be bad because I've seen this before. It's like, I'm not going to have any fun with this if I don't make my own fun. So I got on a call with my best friend, and she is someone who has never seen Doctor Who before. She's only gotten sort of secondhand knowledge from me describing stuff to her. Which actually I'm thinking about getting her on the show because that'd be really fun. Because we have, Frez who has seen all the classic stuff and knows a whole lot about it. Rainiac who's seen some of the classic stuff and knows about it, and me who came in on the current stuff. But I was just talking to her about it, and we had fun with that, and we were making jokes about it, and that was that. I would say do that if you absolutely have to watch this. Don't watch this on your own. Be with people who you can riff on it with. For the rest of everything, I agree with you guys about what you've said about it, and I'm just going to point out a few facts that TARDIS Wiki has on it about this episode. Just to sort of put in context what we're talking about here. The original script featured the Dracondans and gastropods being dropped totally without resolution to the plot, with the final battle taking place in another dimension against a being called Aslan, who is controlling Mestor all along. Peter Moffat described this story as the worst serial he ever did. Eric Soward felt the script was lousy, but it started as a half-decent idea. Anthony Stevens' progress on the scripts was very slow, and he began offering the production team fantastical excuses, such as his typewriter exploding. He eventually fell ill, leaving Eric Soward to heavily restructure the scripts, which Peter Moffat felt had serious logistical and storytelling problems. And then to top this all off, Jonathan Nathan Turner and Eric Soward had different ideas as to what the Sixth Doctor's debut story should be. Nathan Turner wanted a straightforward adventure, pitting the Doctor against a strong villain, while Soward felt that the new Doctor's personality would be better showcased in a more unusual storyline. This would only serve to be the beginning of mounting tensions between the two of them, including Soward having never been keen on Colin Baker's casting in the first place, that would ultimately lead to Soward resigning as script editor by the end of season 23.
And that's something we'll get into. If we ever do, like, Trial of a Time Lord in full, oh, are we going to get into some gnarly shit in the behind the scenes?
But I think if you just read through all the different trivia bits about this story, you'll see that not only was the actual episode itself a crapshoot, but the entire production was a crapshoot as well. It's like everything that could have gone wrong absolutely went wrong.
And I think that sums up the twin dilemma so succinctly. Everything that could go wrong did go wrong.
Yeah.
It was a crap script written by a crap writer who kept giving all these crap explanations as to why he put out this crap. It was edited as best as they possibly could, but it was still crap. And then they still went and did it.
And even now, we are like over 35 years removed from this. Like, the consequence of, oh no, the story was so bad it canceled Doctor Who is moot. The show came back. It was a hit. We love it. Like, it doesn't fucking matter. And yet, here is the twin dilemma. And even still to this day, it's like, this is the worst Doctor Who story ever. And they're not fucking wrong. It's one of the worst Doctor Who stories.
Yep. It really is. And wasn't there a thing where someone at the BBC really, really hated Doctor Who as well?
Oh, well, that's getting into the next season. That's getting into the next season and how it got cancelled and brought back.
It was this season, so
yeah. So yeah, but Twin Dilemma definitely didn't help this person's perspective.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But either way, Colin Baker got fucking shafted.
He did.
And I feel so bad for him because he's not a bad actor. He's really not.
He gets redemption in the Big Finish stuff, and
yes.
even in later Colin Baker stories.
Yes.
He's good. But I think that puts the Twin Dilemma to bed. It's really bad.
Mercifully, it does. Mercifully, it's over.
And
it's over, and you never have to talk about it ever again, just like that other story that we, for some reason, never seem to mention on the show ever.
I'm not going to say it, because every time I try to say it, I cough, so, you know.
Yeah, you really should get that looked at.
Here's the thing about stories like that. Yes, there are problematic elements, and yes, they're uncomfortable to watch now. And I'm not excusing any of the problematic elements.
Right.
But even those stories had a basic structure that worked. When you have to agree in the space of one story with Ian Levine, with that story of Doctor Who that we're not allowed to mention the name of ever again, and that poll, you know it's bad. You know it's really, really bad. And I think I've got it out of my system. Frezno, what do you have for us?
Okay, so no matter what I fucking pick now, it'll be like a blessing compared to this. I could say next time on Doctor Who Reviews, Love and Monsters. And it'd be like, oh, thank God. I'm not doing that. I have something a little more interesting in mind. It is lower on the poll, but it's a story that I find fascinating, if not flawed in a lot of ways. And it's also political.
What? Political story in Doctor Who?
We've had a very political week, so that's fine.
Oh, God, yeah. Well, I don't... Yeah, we're not doing... Okay, anyway. Next time on Doctor Who Reviews, Tom Baker stars in Creature from the Pit.
Oh!
Now, have you two... I'm sure I probably mentioned the story, but do you two know anything about Creature from the Pit?
No.
I know its name, and that's about it.
Okay, well, I'm going to leave it at that, because Rainiac, when you get to the editing for this, and you Google Doctor Who Creature from the Pit, I just want you to share with the chat, and even with the people at home when you put it into the episode at the end here. Just share what you find. I know what you're gonna find, and I know how you're gonna react, and I know how Cat's. So, just put it in there. It'll be a little mystery.
I'll find a picture.
Oh, you'll find a picture, all right.
Just so I know, you said it's Creature from the Pit?
Oh, you don't need to look at it. You want to look it up now?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking it up now. What the flying fuck?
Yep.
Cat saw it. Cat saw it. And you are seeing it too. I hope it. People at home. That's what we're doing.
I don't care what photo you find, Rainiac, because I know exactly which one you're going to use.
Oh yeah. I
demand that you use this one.
Oh, here it comes! Yes!
Yeah, that's the one.
I demand that you use it.
That's the one. That's the one I was going to use.
From the Twin Dilemma to this shit!
You said, did I know anything about this episode? Just this.
Well, y'all Googled it, and you certainly found it.
And that's enough.
Next time we're doing that, this is not a joke. This is not a bit. We're doing this story.
And you know what? After what I had to endure this past weekend, I'm looking forward to it.
You should. So, where can we find us lovely people, Rainiac?
Well, you can find us on Twitter at ReviewsDoctor. You can drop us a lovely email at goexterminateyourself@gmail.com. And if you want to check out our individual Twitters, it's at Rainiac the Maniac, at FreezingInferno, or at Concave Usurper. Cat sometimes streams video games at twitch.tv/Concave Usurper. And what the hell, buy back to the Unveil Crystal Tier. I'll put a link in the description because something's good has to come out of this, surely.
Well, and also, I would like to mention a little thing, a plug of sorts. Last evening, I made a guest appearance on everyone's other favorite podcast, the Sockscast.
Yay!
So we will link that episode in the description. You can listen to me talk about various anime adaptations of the Fate Stay Night series.
Oh, that's what you talked about.
That's what I talked about.
Well, I couldn't listen to it live because, time zones, but
that's what I did.
I'm looking forward to getting around to hearing that. That should be fascinating.
So you can hear me talk about that, and don't just stick around for me. Listen to the whole thing and hear Holly, John, and Rhett talk about other various wonderful
They are
things,
wonderful. They are my inspiration for certain elements of the podcast.
They're great. They're great. I'd love to have them on at some point to talk about some Doctor Who bullshit.
Without
hint.
Polly, there would be no virtual left or virtual right.
Exactly. That's where we got that.
We owe her a lot. I owe her a lot.
I owe her a lot too. She's an inspiration, and she's one of the people who got me started on the writing things that I have to give her thanks for.
I also owe her a lot because she thinks I'm cool.
True.
That may be the greatest badge of honor. Rainiac, you're like, I got inspiration from Polly. Me, I got a writing break from Polly. Cat, Polly thinks I'm cool.
Yeah.
Nobody has ever thought I was cool. This is wonderful.
We think you're cool.
That's the greatest gift one
Don't
can
patronize me, Rainiac.
Polly S. Hate thinks you're
okay,
cool.
we're done talking about the series. You can bring the meme back if you have to.
Keeping the trope alive! Say goodnight, Rainiac.
Firstly, an apology.
Rainiac.
I got far too heated in this.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna do what the writer should have had the Sixth Doctor do and say, I'm sorry for getting too heated about dumb bullshit TV.
Some days you just have to vent.
Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
Oh, please. You guys have heard me rant and rave about all the different episodes that I've had problems with. It's about time you guys got to be able to do the same thing.
You can't leave it bottled up forever. It's not healthy.
Indeed.
We've exercised it now. It's gone. It's out into the ether, and hopefully you all enjoyed it. So thank you to you, the audience, for listening to us talk about the twin dilemma. Thank you to Freezing Inferno and to Kat for being with me and being my support as we talked about the twin dilemma. And Kat, I'm not going to forgive you because there's nothing to forgive. This had to be picked at some point. You just got there first.
I'm not going to forgive you. Fuck you.
And
now, if one of you picks the arc, we're going to have problems.
Yeah. That one may have to be banned.
Oh, really now?
That one may have to be banned. But there's a lot of problems about the arc.
It's the arc is similar to that one episode I can't mention.
Not
Doctor Who Reviews, also known as Kat is trying to destroy all of her friendships. The podcast.
Arc in space is all right.
Yeah.
This is the
plain
arc.
No.
And on that bombshell.
Just making me want to pick it even more.
And on that bombshell, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time for The Creature from the Pit. Until then, bye for now.
Bye. Also, whoever's doing the next time tweet, I also have this for you.
That'll be Jerry. Yes, let's use that and get taken off Twitter.
Oh my god. Oh, this is gonna.
Why is it so phallic? Why?
It's
I don't
funny.
know. By the way,
y'all were earlier on. You were like, "Oh, lots of Doctor Who monsters are phallic. Half a Centauri," and me knowing I'm picking this one.
By the way, this whole thing is going in at the end. Hey, blooper reel, how you doing?